La, 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 la. Hey, this is a song for my haters. Yeah, you got me feeling like the greatest.
Rowe dropping the pass in trouble. He gets the pass away over the middle, and it's picked off at the 20-yard line. Dansby makes the interception.
Welcome back. You're tuned into another episode of Press Coverage Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, E. Dansby. I got another special guest sitting in with us, a former star for the Burke County Bears, a two-time national champion with the Georgia Southern Eagles, and now a state champion head football coach for the Thompson Bulldogs, no other than Coach Michael Youngblood. Coach, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here.
First of all, Coach, man, I just wanted to say thank you, man, for just taking out your time, man. I know we've been trying to put this thing together for a few weeks, man, and I appreciate you coming down and talking with us, man.
Anytime.
So, Coach, man, before we get into your emerging journey, you know, once as a player, now as a coach, man, just first want to get your initial thoughts on Coach Eric Parker, man. Calls it quits this year, man. Such a marvelous career, man. Somebody you've coached with, has a ton of success with, man. What was it like, you know, just coaching with Coach Parker, man, and what does it mean to you in your career?
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, I learned from him that you get a game plan together and you stick with it and have your adjustments that you feel like you're going to need to make later on.
Okay.
And let your coaches coach. I mean, that's the biggest thing that he did for me. I've been under several head coaches that do it different ways, but, you know, he's a lot laid back and, you know, kind of do things a little unconventional when it comes to certain things, but he gets his point across and he's had much success with his style.
Gotcha.
And I just, you know, kind of took a couple of pointers from him when I was his defensive coordinator. You know, we had a chance to win a state title in 2011, so that was huge for Burke County at that moment in time. And, you know, just kind of over the years kind of finding out the different things that I want to get done. And,
right.
You know, I would like to say I take a couple pieces of, you know, being very diplomatic when it comes to certain things, and then, you know, certain things you can't be diplomatic about. So
I got you.
Those are the kind of things I picked up from him.
All right, I feel you, Coach. So, and like you said, man, someone you just had a lot of success with, man, and a guy that finished with, you know, 208 career wins. Of course, that state championship in 2011, man. You know, I feel like, you know, right now, man, he's probably the standard of coaching here in the CSRA, man. Somebody and yourself too, it's the success you've had at Thompson, man. But like you said, man, just shout out to Coach Parker, man. Just a marvelous career he's had, man. And the best of luck to him, you know, in his next endeavors, man. So, Coach, you know, diving into your story, man. I know you come up, you know, Burke County, Waynesboro area, man, you know, late 80s, early 90s, man. And, you know, during that time period, we don't have the youth football back then like we do now. So there's not the Part 1 or the 7-on-7, all those type of things and outlets that our kids have today. So, you know, in your time coming up, where did you find your love for the game?
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, we wanted to be outside. We didn't have electronics. We didn't have technology. So you wanted to be outside. So football season, you played football. Basketball season, you played basketball. Baseball season, you played baseball or run track. Summer, you did it all, and then, you know, you come back and you put it together again. So, you know, today's society is a whole lot different than it was then.
Right.
But, you know, the thing that I think we were able to do back then is we developed what I would say toughness.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by that is now kids sit inside all day. They're always in, you know, the AC or inside playing video games, so they're not outside, you know, kind of running and jumping and doing all those different things. Now they have personal trainers. Well, back then we didn't have personal trainers. You train yourself by being outside. So, you know, you kind of you're I'm not gonna say you're at a crossroads, but you're trying to develop young men now along with what you did when you were a kid.
Right.
And it's just totally different. You know, a lot of people don't believe in, you know, playing multiple sports. They try to specialize, but, you know, you're looking at somebody who played 4 sports in high school. So my thing is I want every kid you only get to go to high school one time.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like college. You know, you got a certain amount of time to get a certain things done.
Gotcha.
And so my thing to my kids in the football program is, hey, if you're playing football, you should try to go play basketball.
Gotcha.
If you don't make the team, then go play baseball. If you don't make the team, then go. Everybody can run track. You can find something to do out there.
Yeah.
And if not, you know, you're staying in shape by being out there. So
exactly.
Our thing is, you know, we want kids to play multiple sports, and I think that's the difference between the generations of different things that go on. But we like our kids to be multiple sport athletes.
Gotcha. I got you, Coach. And like you said, man, in this day and time, you don't see that diversity in sports, you know what I mean, when you got kids just playing multiple sports, you know what I mean? And like you said, in your time, man, when football season was in, you played football. When basketball season came around, you played basketball and so on, you know what I mean? Like you said, you just don't see that today, man. Like I said, so I know that's a challenge as you as a coach. So, you know, getting back into your story, man, you know, you come up in Burke County, man, and of course you say you're playing, you know, youth football, you play middle school football, and then at some point, you know, you get ready to go to high school, and you come behind guys like a Leon Johnson, or Chris Abrams, or Mercedes Hammonds, you know, guys that have done great things at Burke County High School. So what were some expectations you had for, you know, Michael Youngblood stepping into Burke County High School?
Well, the biggest thing back then is, you know, it was one of those things where you looked up to people. And,
Exactly.
And that was a group of guys that were before me.
Right.
That was out there playing in games and, you know, a packed stadium, and you seeing them, everybody in town is talking about them. So, you know, you want to go back and duplicate that.
Exactly.
You know? And that's what kind of motivated me. And, you know, my mom and dad did a good job of doing the best they could do for me with some help of some surrounding peoples. And, you know, my thing was I wanted to provide better for my kids. So
Gotcha.
I wanted to use sports as a tool to get me out of, you know, Waynesboro, out of Burke County, and go somewhere and get my education and find out what it is that I'm going to do at that moment in time. And, you know, I was one of those people, I thought I was going to go to the NFL. But, you know, once you get older and you start to realize some of them times that they're running, some of the things that are going on, I always felt like I had an IQ for the game, but, you know, my speed wasn't where it needed to be at. And so over the course of time, I decided, hey, it's time for me to give back to the youth.
Gotcha. I got you, Coach, man. And that's something that we don't see, man. Because like you said, you know, everyone doesn't make it to the NFL. You know, I had a very, very, very brief shot. You know, 3-4 years, it was over with. But like you said, man, you was able to, you know, kind of reinvent yourself and give back to the youth in the form of coaching, man. So, you know, you're doing your time at Burke County, man. You guys at that time, you're building kind of trying to build a contender here in the mid-'90s. You know, that mid-'90 period, man. So, you know, you're playing with guys like a Kenyatta Burns, Jimmy Kelly, Sheldon Cunningham, Bartha Taylor, Kenny Bradley. And you guys, you know, build this contender. In 1997, you guys get the chance, you know, have a great season, man, make it all the way to the state championship. So just tell us a little bit about that season, man, and that run y'all guys had.
Well, you know, our biggest thing was, you know, it was our senior year. And it's funny how I hear kids in Thompson talk about, you know, their middle school experiences and coming over to the high school, and it kind of rejogs my memory of things that I did when I was a kid. And I tell them all the time, hey, guys, I've been 12 and 13 and 14 and 15. You know, we've done the same exact things, except, you know, y'all have this technology. Yeah. So our thing was our senior year, man, we just wanted to go, you know, we wanted to go win it all. And, and whatever it took to do that. You got to think we had Coach Temple. He died our 8th grade year. Then we had Coach White, who, you know, we thought highly of, and then he was let go. Then we had Coach Umpleby, who coached us our sophomore year, and then he was only doing it for 1 year to you know, get us through that season. And then, you know, we had Mike Fleur. So Mike Fleur came in, and when you go back and look at where he guided that program to get us started, you know, that was the first time Burke County had ever played for a state championship that year. Right. So we had a tremendous run. That's when, you know, you played the semifinals in the Georgia Dome. And, you know, everybody shut down just to go do that. You know, we came up a little short in the state championship game, but, you know, our mindset at that moment in time was just, hey, we're gonna go win a state title. And nobody believed in us but, you know, our community and our football team and our coaches. And I think at some point in time, we kind of pretty much surprised them too. Yeah. And like you said, man, during that season, man, that was a time when you guys go on like a 10-game winning streak, I think, in that season. As I'm doing my research, I see that. And in the state championship game itself, controversial as it was, you know, it's the first game that the Georgia Public Broadcasting had for a state championship game to air it. And it was like it was, you know, you guys come up short, but it's still heck of a ball game, man. So, like I said, man, just, you know, shout out to that, you know, Burke County. That was, I think I said, was the first time it been in a state championship game since 1997. I was doing my research. I seen something that said 1957 when you had like Waynesboro High School and something Alexander something. Before they combined, it was like the first time they had won like a football championship, man. So like you said, man, just shout out to you guys.
And in that 1997 team, man, it's bringing that exposure and that light, man, to Burke County, man. So, Coach, you know, regardless, man, y'all guys come up short in the state championship, and that's okay. But you know, sometimes that happens in the game of football. But you yourself, as a player, man, had such a outstanding career at Burke County, man. Just to run down a few things, man. You know, the all-time receiving leader, most field goals in the season, longest punt return in the game, most interceptions in the game. This is a stellar career, Coach. So, what were just some aspirations you had to just playing at the next level, taking your game to college?
Well, the biggest thing is you just want to go somewhere that was free.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't want my parents to pay for anything or have to come up with some money and try to figure out a way to put me through school.
Gotcha.
So I felt like that was my job. That was what I had to do, is I had to go make good grades and go do what I could on the football field or the basketball court or the baseball field.
Gotcha.
To get myself in a situation where I could go to school for free.
Right.
Because I didn't want to, be in my parents' pockets. And the only thing I wanted them to do for me is just send me some extra money.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Some spending money. I feel
so I just felt like going through that process of trying to figure some stuff out. I just wanted to put everything into sports and my academics to get me out of the situation I'm in. And
right.
At that moment in time as a kid, the only thing I was thinking about, I didn't want to be a burden.
Yes, I got you.
I didn't want to be a burden on my parents. I didn't want to be a burden for them to have to find ways to make sure I could go to school and get an education.
Right.
So that was my biggest thing. And at that moment in time, you talking about my mom and my dad, they didn't have a college degree. So,
gotcha.
I always aspired to be a little bit better than them. So
gotcha.
I wanted to go to school and, get that college degree. And, you're looking at somebody today that has a specialist degree in education. So, when I finished that up, got my master's, got my specialist. So you sitting there talking about, I could probably go do 3 more years and get a doctorate. I just don't want to write no papers.
Yeah, I got you, man. And that's to hear that, man, that's kind of me. Of course, younger than you, Coach, but something that was, in my journey as well, man, as a person that I was in high school playing football, man, and I said, hey, man, I don't want to make my parents have to pay for this. I don't want them come out the pocket for me to go to school. And I said, hey, I'm going to go in the Marines. And then once I found out, hey, I'm pretty good at this football thing, and I got these people recruiting me, and I said, hey, it's free. I'm going to go, man, get a good education, man, and try to make the best of it, try to get a shot at the NFL, and, try to have, get a good education out of it. And I did, was able to get a bachelor's degree, man, and it worked out well, man. So, shout out to you, Coach, for that, just, going to college, man, doing it the right way. So, Coach, you go through the recruiting process, man. You finally decided to play your college football in Statesboro up under Coach Paul Johnson. And then during that time, man, you guys go to back-to-back national champions. You guys win in 1999 and 2000. So, that's major. So what was that ride like, just being on those championship teams?
Well, you got to think, my true freshman year, I got pulled out of my red shirt because we had some guys that got injured. So
okay.
I had to get kind of pressed into duty right there.
Right.
We ended up going 14-1. So
okay.
we lost we probably had one of the most potent offenses that's ever been created in college football at that level. And, man, going 14-1, seeing those seniors and knowing they had come up short, things didn't quite go the way they were supposed to go.
Right.
We had a lot of people coming back. That was the thing. Like, we had a lot of our firepower coming back.
Right.
So, the next year you go 13-2 and win it, the first national championship under Coach Johnson, and then you turn around and you do it again. You go back to back, go 13-2 again. You know? So you're sitting there in a 3-year period, you're sitting there with 5 losses.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
You are just, losing is not even an option.
Right.
When how you go about business. And then our senior year, we ended up going 12-2 and got put out in semifinals against Furman.
Gotcha.
That was when 9/11 happened, so we had to go back through what was technically our conference. So the first game we played FAMU because of travel restrictions. They didn't want planes in the air at that moment in time, so we had to go through FAMU. Then we played App State in the second round. Then you turn around and play Furman in the semifinals, which, it was one of those things where it just wasn't in the cards for us.
Right.
But you talking about in a college career only losing 7 football games.
Man, that's remarkable.
And you sit there and look at it now, you're like 52-7 in high school, meaning in a college setting, and you went 13-2, in high school, And, you know, you hit a 5-year period right there where you've played a lot of football.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, you done played
It's a lot of
extended games. That's a lot of football games. So, and I understood the importance of that. And, you know, once I finished up, I just looked at it and I was like, man, this body can't take it no more.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because you was mentioning to it earlier before we got started, all those cut blocks and having to defend against it. And, you know, it made us a better defensive unit and being able to stop the run and play the cut block, how people did it back then. But also, you know, it just I applaud NFL players and CFL players that once you hit that after that college life and you still can, you know, put your body up to a certain standard, they still get things done, man, is amazing.
Right. And like you said, man, you know, just playing against that every year, you know, especially that triple option system, man, it definitely takes away, you know, a toll on your body, man. I played against it a lot, against the other Southern, against many other teams, man. It weigh on you, man. But I tell people all the time, man, it's when you're talking about winning the championship, you know, not even a conference championship, but a national championship itself, it's just something that's hard to do. You know, everybody doesn't go on to play in the NFL. You know, if you do, it's a blessing. But, you know, just to be able to, you know, when you look back on those Georgia Southern teams, man, and something you can just, you know, share with your kids today, I know it got to be something remarkable, man. It's something that you can just, hey, I done this, you know what I mean? And like you said, 52-7, when you talk about that type of record, that's very Alabama-ish, you know what I mean? That's, you know, that before Bama, who they are now, but that's that type of, you know, pedigree of winning, man, where, you know, like you said, that's a lot of football games, especially in the postseason, when you almost play a regular season in all those postseasons, you know what I'm saying? If you accumulate the number of years, man, and you play with so many great guys, man, you know, Adrian Peterson, Benny Cunningham, Mark Myers, all these guys that, you know, just good players at the FCS level, man. And, you know, just like I said, shout out to Georgia Southern, even though, you know, I'm going to represent App State all day, man, but just shout out to Southern, man. That's something major. And it's something in history, man, some great guys down there, man, and a great team, something that'll be in history forever, man. So, Coach, you know, you finish up your career playing down in Statesboro, man. You come back to Burke County. You eventually you'll coach there for a little bit. And then you link up with Coach Franklin Stevens, man, up at Tucker. You guys are able to win a state championship in 2008. So what was that like?
Well, I got to take you back a little bit.
Okay.
You know, once I left Burke, I went to Chattahoochee.
Chattahoochee.
Under Terry
okay.
Crowder.
I got you.
So my first head coach I worked under was Steve Summers. He got me right out of high school.
Okay.
And then I left and went with Terry Crowder, who was my defensive coordinator. Steve Summers was the offensive coordinator under Coach Fleur.
Gotcha.
When he was taking over in Burke. So that was a little easy transition to come home and, you know, try to get some things together. And then when I went to Atlanta to Chattahoochee with Terry Crowder, he named me defensive coordinator. So gotcha. That's kind of where that's who really gave me my first shot. And
gotcha.
I mean, he taught me everything about the 3-3-5 and, you know, the ins and outs, and spent 2 years over there with him. And I have to give him credit. He said, I'm about to take some losses here. As a head coach, we're not going to be that good. You need to go with Franklin Stevens, and, you know, y'all need to get together and y'all can go win it. He said they're going to have a team that's going to play for it, or if not, win it. So you need to go over there, because that is the way that you're going to make yourself more marketable.
Right.
Is you need to have a state title on your resume.
Gotcha.
And so he really didn't give me a choice. He kind of forced me over there. Yeah. So I got with Coach Stevens, and man, it's been definitely a journey with him, because, you know, we go in and in 1 year, you know, we get it done. We win a state title and go 14-1. I think the burning point of that was in the regular season. You know, we lost to Marist, and then, I mean, they took us to the woodshed now. Yeah. We was on their field, and they beat us like a drum. And then we came back and, you know, got our refocus and got through the playoffs, and that's who we ended up playing in the state championship game.
Gotcha.
And we was able to return that favor. Left Tucker after 1 year and went to Dunwoody for a year, and I think we went 7-5. That was my first head coaching job. And we went 7-5.
That's not a bad year, 7-5 in the first year.
Went to the second round.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Man, we end up losing to Gainesville.
Gotcha.
And they had about 7 or 8 Division I football players on that team. Yeah. And some guys that actually went to the NFL.
Yeah, that's talking about the Deshaun Watson and all those guys.
Well, that was Deshaun Watson was more back in 2010. This was,
gotcha.
You know, this was a a little bit earlier than that.
Okay,
This is back in '09, so this was before anybody knew anything about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
This was Blake Sims and Tyler Jones that went to Notre Dame and all that. Right.
Blake Sims that played at Alabama, the quarterback. Yeah. I want to say they want to play like Peach County in the state that year, like 09, one of those years.
One of those years, and they went for 2 and lost. Yeah, the Peach. That's right.
Yeah, I remember that.
So when I left Dunwoody, I actually went back home, and that's when I linked up with Eric Parker.
Okay.
And then we had a 3-year run where, if memory serves me correctly, I only think we lost 2 games the first year.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we lost 2 games. I think we went like 12-2 or something. And then we come back the next year and we go 14-1. We end up losing the Lowndes at Lowndes. And then you come back the next year, and I think we go 12-2 again, and we lost to Sandy Creek.
Yeah.
We lost to Thompson in the first game, so we went on a little run there before we lost to Sandy Creek.
Right.
And so when you look at that, you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, 14-12, that's 26 plus another 12, 38 wins or 36 wins, 38 wins, I think it was right there. And, you're talking about, 5 losses in 3 years?
Yeah, so he was
that winning culture is, all over you. And then I decided to leave and go up to Atlanta to South Cobb. Man, I can't even begin to tell you how God works sometimes. I'm sitting here and I'm saying, well, something kept telling me, take the job.
Right.
And I got, my wife at that moment in time, and Coach Parker was like, hey, man, you might don't want to take that job. And I was like, man, Coach, I got to go.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. So, man, to make a long story short, that taking that job wasn't for me. It was for my wife. Her brother ended up getting murdered. So she was home and was able to spend some time with him before all that happened.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So, if I wouldn't have took that job, she wouldn't have had that time to spend with him.
Gotcha.
So, that's why I say it's funny how God uses you sometimes. So I was very appreciative. You don't see stuff sometimes on the front end. Sometimes you see it on the back end.
Exactly.
And that was one of those situations where I saw it on the back end, and I left South Cobb and went to Ware County again with Franklin Stevens.
Right.
And so that was a different culture going to South Georgia.
That's South Georgia football. Yeah,
it was different, but they pay a lot of money now.
Do they? Okay, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. So I did 4 years there, and then 5 years later, I'm here representing the Thompson Bulldogs, and they hired me after my 4th year in Ware as the defensive coordinator. The job came available, and the rest is history.
Yeah. That's like I said, Coach. When you give us a rundown, man, this is an amazing journey of just a culture of just winning. Winning over a consistent period of time, and that's very hard as a head coach, especially like you said, man, in the state of Georgia, where football is very big, man. In different communities, you got the Atlanta area, this side of the Savannah River on the east side, and you got South Georgia that's big, very big. So like I said, just being able to show us a model of consistent winning, man. But just to kind of take us back, man, just just your days with Coach Parker, man. We're just talking about that 2011 season in just in hindsight now. Just looking back, you go there, you link up with Coach Parker, man. You guys go to the state championship in 1997, but you get back in 2011. You coaching guys like your Donquell Greens and Montreal Kitchens, Corey Mans, just to name a few guys, man. But what was it like, just being on making that state championship run in Burke County? Like you said, haven't done it before. You was on the latest team that had done it in 1997. Had been a while. So what was that like?
Well, as a coach, I was able to prick their conscience. Like, y'all really can't even tell me about being a player now because none of y'all have done what I've done here.
Gotcha.
You're not the best team. We can talk about what you want to talk about, but at that moment in time, 13-2 was the best record in Burke County history.
Right.
And I say, y'all got to go beat it for me, to bow down to that.
Gotcha.
And, I really challenged those seniors that way. And,
right.
And, held them to a standard. And, Coach Parker, he kind of backed off of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? He would let me kind of handle that because it was getting them fired up to try to go do something special, but also, hey, if you want to be the best, you gotta go prove it. You gotta go put the stats together.
Exactly.
So I thought we did a tremendous job. Some things, Lowndes, I can tell you who we lost to. If we'd have done a little bit better job defensively, I felt like we could have won that game. And that was the one that kind of haunted me the whole time, being a coach. And I was like, man, we got to go. We got to go 14-1. And I told the kids when we lost to Lowndes, I said, we won't lose again now. We're not going to lose another football game the rest of the season. That showed me what I needed to see. And then I knew the adjustments that we had to make.
Right.
We had some kids that sometimes got caught in some situations that wasn't good for them. But, when you go back and think about it, if you do a better job of coaching, then guess what? You don't put those kids in that situation. So you try to keep it where your kids always have defensively, you never want to get left one-on-one.
Gotcha.
And even in the passing game and the run game, you're trying to get 2-on-1 at every given time.
Gotcha.
At some point in time, you want it to be 2-on-1. And I just felt like, we had some kids that couldn't win their one-on-one battles.
Yeah.
So we had to find ways to, I hate to use the word cover up, but that's what it was. We can't put him in that situation no more.
Right.
Because we know the results.
Right. We're not just football. Sometimes it happens.
And especially in big games. And Lowndes was a big game. Now,
Lowndes is a big program. Yeah.
You're talking about 10,000 fans in the stands.
Yeah.
And the only thing you hear is those Vikings.
Yeah,
so,
that's it. Yeah.
That was the thing with 2011.
Yeah, man. Like you said, man, this shout out to you and Coach Parker, man, getting it done for that, for that community in Waynesboro and Burke County, man. It was something that they had been wanting for a long time. And you guys was able to bring it home to him, man. A guy that went to Burke County and done it. So, like I said, man, marvelous job there. And you mentioned earlier, Coach, you were at Ware, and you have a huge level of success there. And then you take the job here in Thompson, man. So, 2007, Rob Ryans, he takes them 14-1. They go to the state. They lose. Rob Niels, he takes over for a year, then he leaves. Then you get your opportunity right after that, Coach. So, what was just your mindset going into Thompson to try to build that program back to what it was?
Well, the biggest thing was, getting that opportunity. You knew you had to go in, and there was a couple of things that you had to change.
Exactly.
It's no knock on coaches. Everybody has their way of how they like to do stuff.
Exactly.
And when I talk about this, I tell people, defensively, you have a 50 defense, you have a 3-4 defense, you got a 4-3 defense, you got a 3-3 defense, you got a 4-2-5. Every single one of those defenses, and 4-4, don't let me forget that, every single one of those defenses has won a state title.
Right.
So, you got to get your kids to believe in what it is you want them to believe in.
Right.
And then when you flip it over to the offensive side, you got wishbone, you got wing T, you got triple option, you got spread, you got the RPO stuff, you got I, you got all these different things.
Right.
Of offenses that people have won a state title with.
Gotcha.
I don't care what level you go look at, they've done it, and it's been successful.
Gotcha.
But the biggest thing is all about getting your kids to believe in and have a work ethic of what you're doing and what you're trying to get them to get accomplished. And, when I first got there, you got to think, you got some seniors that have been with another coach for 3 years, and
right.
You got your juniors that have been there with another coach for 2 years. So, the first couple of years, you're trying to not only install your system and what you're doing, but you're also trying to develop the toughness that you want them to have for the things that you want to get accomplished. And then you're trying to weed out some of what you feel like is bad habits.
Bad habits, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, what one coach allows, another coach may not allow. And so with that being said, you just going through it. So your first year, you go 5-7. You have a couple of opportunities to win some games that, I felt like character came into play. But, you're trying to get through it, and you're trying to get through that year. And I have to remind myself, back then, you only got the job May 1st.
Gotcha.
That's when you first started. So
right.
You talking about as soon as you got there, you hit the field
you hit the ground running. Yeah, with spring, all that different type of stuff. Yeah.
And now that schedule wasn't nothing for the week either.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, and they walk in my office, they see that schedule from when I first got there. Because you talking about you played North Augusta game 1. You played Lee County, you did play Grovetown, and you played GACA. You played it was out of Athens. You had a team, and man, it was a rough schedule.
Right.
So with that being said, we go 5-7, lose in the second round to K-Roll, and then the next year we go 6-6.
Yeah.
and I think we lost to Cartersville Cartersville in the rain. So, 2 years back to back, you're sitting there like, God, dog, what you got to do? So, of course, now I get to create my own schedule.
Gotcha.
And, of course, you still want to keep one hard team on there because that's what you want to do. You want to show your kids some of the things. And I think we go to a point where we go 9-3.
9-3 the next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
And then so now you come back, you Xerox it again, and you just, that's the COVID year. That when COVID really hit, and we were able to go 12-1 that year, had to cancel a game, and we ended up losing Appleton County.
Yeah.
All right. So once that happened, I felt like we had a great nucleus of kids coming back for this previous year, and you could see the tide starting to turn a little bit, and you're starting to get in the toughness that you want, and now you're going, you're going into year 5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now, you've gotten everything out of the program that you felt like you needed to get out, and now it's your turn to make a run. And I told the kids, I really felt like it was state championship or bust for us. And I said it. I mean, I put that pressure not only on myself, but I wanted to put it on the kids, and I wanted them to understand this is the mindset that you got to have if you want to go do it. And, it was one of those things, and here it is, the very first game we lose. We lose to our rival in
Burke County,
And, they're all looking at me like I'm crazy, like, Coach. But when we go back through film and we go back through the game and we show them the things that we were doing, I was like, look, guys, we're not going to make it if you're going to do it your way. It's just not going to happen. You have to do it exactly how we're telling you to do it. And I think that was the wake-up call that we kind of needed, because you win that game, you can't tell them nothing.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? As a kid, 17, 18, 16 years old, you just beat your rival, and coach over here raising Cain about, hey, why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do that? Man, you get that. And I understand because I played the game.
Exactly.
So now we have their attention, and then, you go 14 straight. And it was one of the amazing runs, and I'm just ecstatic for not only for our kids and the coaches that are with me, but our community. I felt like it just really, really pulled us together because we were racially divided when I took over. And, I mean, it's nothing that can bring a community together, nothing like football.
Yeah, definitely.
And once you put that offensive line together, once you put that defensive line together, once you put your skill positions together to go out there, and you got 11 kids out there, at that moment in time, don't nobody care about what color you are.
Race doesn't matter at that point.
Race don't matter. You know?
Exactly.
And especially with the other team, it doesn't matter because they're trying to beat you.
Right.
So they don't care what you got going on. And, that's one of the biggest things that, I was so happy to see it turn, and they understand that, look, this is Thompson football. This is what it's supposed to be about. And you're talking about 20 years now. Nobody's done it in 20 years.
Yeah, since 2002.
Since Coach Welch. And, he has 3 of them. And we got a total of 6 state titles. So Coach Welch has 3. And then we have 3 other guys that have 1, which is me included, with Coach Paul Leroy. And I want to say Reese, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the other one. Please forgive me for that. But that's one of the things. So, you asked me something about how do you get them motivated, and coming back for the next season to get ready. The first day in the weight room when we got back, I said, hey, guys, y'all need to tell me what you want to do.
Gotcha.
I say, because when it's all said and done, y'all are going to determine how this season goes.
Exactly.
We as coaches can come in here and get out to y'all and do all we got to do, but at the end of the day, it's on y'all. And I say, look, we can enjoy the state title and get our rings and sit back and relax and, drink Kool-Aid and fill ourselves up with all this joy and go out to the first game and get our tail toe up and let everybody beat us so they can talk about we beat the defending state champs and all that kind of stuff. Or you can listen to me and we can get in here and work our tails off and get ready to defend it.
Exactly.
And so my question to y'all is, what you want to do? Y'all tell me so I know how to coach you.
Right.
Because I don't want to be frustrated.
Exactly.
And I had a bunch of my seniors stand up and say, Coach, we want to go do it again. We want to go repeat.
Right.
And that was a sigh of relief because, that now that hunger is there.
The hunger is there.
Like, we supposed to do this. This is how we're supposed to be.
Right, and because it's different when you're the man that's being gunned at now. When you know what I'm saying, you guys have won it. These teams are now gunning for you. You know, it's different from being, you know, when you're hunting and now you're the hunted. It's different because you're going to get every team's best swing now. You know, when teams come into Thompson, when you go to somewhere else, these guys are going to give you their best effort because you guys are the defending state champs.
Well,
you know what I mean?
and that's, you know, that's the thing that I tap into is like, look, guys, I've been there. I've done it. I've been in college. You know, we won it. And then we had to go back and defend it.
Yeah.
And get back there. And it's harder.
It's harder. Yeah,
because
definitely.
you're gonna get everybody's best shot. And I mean, if they make one play, they getting up talking trash.
Yeah, the fans are into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's different being at the top of the, you know, the top of the mountain with everybody gunning for you and shooting for you. You got to protect your back. You got to protect your front. You got to protect your side.
It's different level. It's a different level of expectation now. Definitely.
And now, you know, our community, this is what they want. And I told our coaches and I told our kids, this is where you want to be at. Football matters. They want you to win. They don't want no excuses. And they expect to win a state title every year. Yeah. And, you know, we was able to get it done in a 5-year period. So now the question is, can we go back and do it again?
Yeah.
And when you go back and look at Thompson's history, you know, hey, why not?
Yeah,
because you got 84, 85 did it.
Yeah.
So why not 22, 23?
Yeah, everything can happen, Coach.
That's the thing that we're trying to tap in, and you know we have a guest speaker that comes in and talk to the kids on Wednesdays and do a little devotion with them and do some character development.
Okay.
And right now we're in the weight room pumping weights and doing everything that we can do as far as the weight room. And then, you know, now that we've hit March, we got our track kids and our baseball kids. They're playing their sports and doing what they're supposed to do. So, you know, we get everything pretty much done in class. And that's the biggest thing is having our kids scheduled so they can be in a weight training class so we can get all of our weights done so that after school, you know, they can go to their prospective sports. And then we don't have to worry about having to stay after school to do extra stuff. And I feel like that's time that we can take advantage of and get our kids to understand the importance of playing other sports, but we're still getting after it in the weight room. And now you're seeing your results in the weight room, but you're also seeing your results in other sports. Because you're staying in shape year round.
Gotcha. I got you, Coach. And like you said, man, when you're talking about winning those state championships in Thompson, like you said, it's something that now the community and the whole CSRA, they're expecting for you guys to be in. And like I said, we were talking earlier, I think now the expectation for Thompson now is to be in the mix at the end every year, you know, because like you said, it's very hard to always, you know, to go repeat back to back to back every year. But as long as if you're in that mix every year, you give yourself a chance to win at the end. That's all you want, just a chance to be there at the end, to give you a chance, opportunity to win, man. So like you said, man, this shout out to you and your coaching staff, man, just about, you know, staying on the guys, man, keeping them hungry. Like I said, bringing back a good core group of guys, man. You know, John Tavius Curry's gone. You know, many others, they're leaving. But you got some guys coming back, man. You guys got a shot to try to win it again next year. Maybe, like you said, going to be a little bit more challenging because you guys are at the top of the mountain right now. There's always somebody that's going to want to knock you off. You're going to start game one, whoever that opponent may be. You know, they're going to try to knock you guys off and send a message, man. But like you said, man, you got some guys that's hungry, that's in the in your locker room, man, and they're ready to go and defend that title, man. So shout out to them, man. So, Coach, man, you know, just before we get out of here, man, and I appreciate your time, man. You know, when we talk about recruiting here in the CSRA, man, there's many athletes, man, they want to go off and want to go to college and, you know, do great things on the next level. So, you know, just from your high school coaching perspective and this, guys that, you know, coached at a high level in high school and now played at a high level in college, man, you know, what would be your advice to a young man and a young lady that want to take their game to the next level?
Well, the first thing is, I don't think a lot of kids understand this, but number one, you got to have parent involvement.
Exactly.
And the only thing the parents have to do is make sure your child makes a B in core classes.
Yeah.
That's math, that's science, that's social studies, that's English, and if you happen to take a foreign language. Make sure your child makes a B. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, we take A's all day. We want you to make an A, but at least make sure they make a B, because what happens is when you look at that sliding scale, it helps you out a whole lot to have a higher GPA, okay? So now when you have a high GPA, and as of right now, they're kind of not accepting I shouldn't say accepting, the SAT and ACT you need to take.
Exactly.
Okay, because you have certain colleges that when it's all said and done, they're still looking at those scores.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the NCAA who has come in and has kind of suspended that for a little while due to COVID.
Gotcha.
All right. So moving forward, you don't know what the NCAA is going to do. You don't know if they're going to go ahead and say, all right, you don't have to have test scores no more to be eligible to go to college, or they may come in and revamp it or do whatever it is they're going to do. I can't tell you what that is.
Right.
But I do know that you need to have those test scores on file.
Gotcha.
Because when you start talking about high academic schools, when you start talking about Princeton or Yale, when you start talking about Division II, Division III, some of those schools are still, and even some Division I schools. You know, I know Georgia Tech, for instance, they're still looking at test scores.
Yeah, Duke as well.
So when you start talking about all these schools, these academic, really, really academic, and there's no slight on no other colleges, but
right.
you know, the people that are still going by test scores. When you look at it, you know, I have a B average. Let's say I make like a 1,200 on the SAT. All right. So now what happens is it puts you in a different category to go to different schools.
Gotcha.
All right. Now you have your Division I schools that, you know, you have to have a certain score with a certain GPA to get you into the school for its qualifications. But, you know, you also have other schools that their qualifications are way higher than what the NCAA is putting you under.
Gotcha.
So if you're one of those preferred walk-on kids where they're trying to put together a package for you,
gotcha,
and they're going to use your academics, whether it's Hope Scholarship or Zell Miller, and then you get into do you qualify for Pell? So they're trying to put all these things together for you to put a package together, and they might pay for your meals or your housing as a preferred walk-on, and now you're actually going to school for free because you have all these things academic
stuff. Yeah.
Now the other thing is sometimes you don't even need athletics if your GPA is high enough and your test scores are high enough, because now you can go to school for free off just academics.
Yeah.
They'll just pay you to go do it. So now, if I receive a full ride and the school is paying me to come there for academics, guess what? I'm getting a lot of money back on the back end.
Gotcha.
So that's the biggest thing I tell parents, and I try to get our kids to understand, look, you want to make a B or better. Yeah. And as many A's as you can make, let's make them.
Right.
But you need to make a B or better, and especially these core classes. And that's the biggest thing that I see that kids make a mistake, because if a college wants you, they come see you. That means you doing something for them to see you, and that's I think that's the biggest thing that you can do, is making sure you have a test score on file and make B's in your classes or better. That's
right.
That's our thing. The next thing now with college recruiting, with this transfer portal, and I know parents don't like to hear it, but at the end of the day, you got to put those kids in your car and you got to go drive to these camps.
Yeah.
And you got to get your kids in front of these college coaches so they can see them, and that's how you get it.
Right.
You also need to build you a Facebook page. You need to build you a Twitter page.
Account,
you got to get a Snapchat. You got to get an Instagram. And all of it has to be about business. And what I mean by business is nothing but promoting whatever sport it is you're playing. If you're a swimmer, that's all it should be talking about. You're swimming. It should have your GPA on it. It should have your SAT, ACT score on it. It should have all of your highlights constantly. You're constantly retweeting and sending it out to college coaches, and just send it to everybody that you possibly can.
Right.
You know, this is the information age. So it's easy for you to go and say, all right, I want to look up every coach in the SEC that coaches baseball.
Gotcha.
Baseball, for instance. Every head coach in the SEC has a baseball page that's up that's going to have their email address on it. Okay, so and they're probably going to have their Twitter account on it, and it's probably going to have all of their social media stuff. And right then and there, as a parent, I would print all of that stuff out. I would make sure that all of those pages I just talked about that you need to have, that is really dedicated to your highlights, I would go in and I would send that to every single one of those college coaches and make sure I follow them on whatever social media page that I can follow them on.
Gotcha.
And I would keep flooding their emails and their Twitter page or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I'm gonna send that out every month. I'm just gonna hit it again. I'm gonna hit it again. And then eventually, you know, you got to sell yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you got to sell yourself. So my biggest thing is first is academics. All right, make sure you got your test score. Make sure you got to be a better. Then, you know, make sure you got your social media page. And don't think these college coaches now, when you put your name on there, if I'm sitting there and I'm coming to recruit Michael Youngblood, then guess what? Don't think they don't know about that other page you got over there too that's on social media.
Yeah,
they got
definitely looking into you.
They got a room that's all they do.
Yeah.
All right, this is my top board. Let's go look these kids up. I don't want to know everything about them. So they got a whole group of people sitting there on computers that is looking that stuff up. So make sure you keep everything classy. That's how I tell them. Keep it classy. Okay.
Gotcha.
If you're not retweeting nothing about this football program, or you're not retweeting anything that's beneficial or helpful or motivational, don't do it. Just leave it alone, swipe, and go on to the next page.
I gotcha.
So really in the recruiting game, you know, you can't hit the panic button either, because, you know, they have these what is now 2 transfer portals, and that's probably going to change here in the next 6 months or the next year.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
transfer portal is definitely
it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is, all right, so now you got signing day.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you're a kid that didn't sign. Well, if they didn't jump in the portal right before December, well, it's fixing to open up again right here after spring ball. So what'll happen is you might have a team that has 6 scholarship linebackers and a 4-2-5. So they're 3 deep scholarship.
Right.
Well, you might have 3 or 4 that get disgruntled and jump in the portal and leave.
Right.
All right.
I got
So
you.
now, guess what done happened? They're going in the portal to look for a kid, but they might not find what they're looking for. And all those kids that went in the portal and left, so now they got to come back to who?
The high school kids.
They got to come back to the high school kids.
Gotcha.
So sometimes it's all about being patient and finding the right fit for you. But
I got you.
you know, if you do have a college that's interested in you, and you need to go to that camp and you need to let them see you so they can offer you faster. If you got all your academics in place, then guess what? You become what is called an early qualifier, and colleges like that. You
Gotcha.
know, because that means you're more business oriented and you got your mind on, you know, you got your head on straight. You're focused on what you got to get done. And then I tell them, if you got a place you like and they offer you, you need to go ahead and commit. Make sure it's a committable offer.
Right.
The next thing is, you know, don't get into, well, I got 20 offers. I got 30 offers. Man, before you even start this process, you really need to pick out 5 schools that you would like to go to. And once you get it and get what you want, don't get all into, oh yeah, my child got 40 offers, 40 Division I offers from, you know, to go play wide receiver at such and such. That don't matter. What matters is what you want to do, where you want to be at when them 4 or 5 years at college are done.
Right.
Yes, everybody has NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball. I don't care what it is.
Yeah,
Everybody has
wants to go
dreams
there.
of making it, but have a contingency plan of what you want to do with life after ball when it's done.
Exactly.
Because it's going to come to an end now.
Right. Right.
NFL stands not for long.
Not for long. It don't. It don't last for long.
So it's
at
not
all.
not gonna last a long time. Now you can go make a lot of money real quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Then you got to be smart and you got to know how to deal with it. So I think, you know, what really needs to happen is once you start realizing where you're going to be at, then you need to start, you know, taking some what I call money marketing classes.
Yeah.
Because you need to know how to take care of your money. You need to know about LLCs. You need to know about the different things and tax annuities. And hey, you hate to say it, but you need to learn how to be how Donald Trump was with his money.
Hey, exactly,
you know,
man.
to be able to protect it. And that's
exactly.
the things that, you know, you have to teach the kids and you have to go through. So, you know, that's my spiel on, you know, recruiting and different things that you have. And that's a lot of information in a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to hit the panic button, but you really can't hit it. You just got to do what's best and make sure academically you're where you need to be at. Because if you take care of business academically, it will give you the opportunity to play whatever sport it is that you really want to go play if you're good enough to go to the next level. Don't let academics be the reason why you can't do it.
Gotcha, Coach. And like I said, Coach, man, that's, you know, like you said, in a short period of time, man, it's very informal, man. I feel like that's something that our athletes need to hear and our parents as well. Because like I say, a lot of times, man, our parents, we have, you know, great kids, you know, great athletes as kids, but sometimes the parents they don't know what to do or where to go or where to turn to, man. So like I said, Coach, shout out to you for that, man. But just, you know, just dropping that on us, man, and kind of giving them a space where they can just find their way, Because like you said, sometimes it's not just doesn't start with the athlete and the coaches. It goes all the way back to the parents, coach. So like you said, man, coach, man, from me to you, man, definitely appreciate you, man, just coming on, man, sharing your light with us, man. You know, congrats to you and Thompson, man, and that community, what you've been able to do and able to accomplish there. I know you guys got more aspirations to accomplish more, man. And here at Press Coverage Podcast, man, we're definitely rooting for you guys. So, Coach, man, from me to you, man, I just want to say, man, thank you for coming on the show, man. Thank you for taking the time sitting down talking with us, man. I definitely appreciate you, man. Remember, athletes, man, get those grades. Coach, you heard it from himself, man. Get those grades. And if you get your grades, man, you'll put yourself in a better space to be where you want to be at the end of the day, man. So, Coach, man, thank you for coming on, man. I definitely appreciate it, man. Thank you, brother. Hey, Press Coverage Podcast, man. Remember, hit subscribe, man. Like, share, send your comments, man. We definitely appreciate it, man. Hey, we out of here, man.
This is a song for my haters.